I'm Janelle Nanos, business reporter with the Boston Globe, and this is Bold Types, conversations with Boston's business leaders. Today, I'm talking with Cheney, the founder of Curio Spice Co in North Cambridge, about what it means to be a sustainable spice importer. Hi, Claire. Thank you so much for having us into your beautiful storefront here on Mass Ave in Cambridge. Tell me a little bit about where we are today.
Hi, Janelle. Welcome in. We are in the Curio Spice storefront here in North Cambridge, right on Mass Ave. And this store has been here since 2016.
And you are the owner, founder of the Curio Spice Company. Tell me a little bit about what that is.
I founded the company in 2015. I am super passionate about storytelling and about flavor. So I got really excited to start a spice business where I could tell stories about where spices come from, why it's important to buy directly from farmers, and how spices can improve your cooking at home.
When I think of spices, I think of the Silk Road and the international spice trade that helped start a revolution around the world in terms of travel and in terms of taste. Now the spice trade is more of a commodities market. Talk with me a little bit about that and what you're hoping to bring to the table in your work with Curio Spice.
For thousands of years, spices have been traded around the world, and unfortunately they've been traded at the expense of the farmers. So it kind of goes back to colonization. So during the Age of Discovery, when Portuguese and European traders were exploring the world, they were discovering things that, Europe had never tasted black pepper, for example. But they did so at a cost. So that process of colonization has continually been damaging to many countries, many cultures, and particularly spice farmers. So one of the things that Curio is working to do is disrupt those commodity supply chains, which focus a lot on intermediaries. And intermediaries and traders are making all the money and not the farmers.
How do you make those connections to small farmers and give them more opportunities than maybe they're getting right now?
So the first step is just to shorten the supply chain. So we use the shortest chain possible, which is working directly with the farmers. So normally a spice will go through dozens of intermediaries from when the spice is processed, dried, traded, going through warehouses, going on container ships. By working directly with those farmers, we're able to not only make sure that the farmers get more money for their spice, but then we also receive fresher spices, more high quality spices, and we also get our customers really interesting, unique varieties of things that nobody's heard of.
Wow.
Spices everywhere.
So when the spices actually arrive, how do they arrive? Like, are they in bags?
Yeah, they're
like
usually
this,
in bags like this. This is the cinnamon order from
oh my God, yeah.
Vietnam.
Clearly, wow.
Yeah,
Smell that.
I know. So they'll come all wrapped up in. This is a pallet of sea salt.
With a shovel.
Yeah, with a shovel, because it is very heavy.
Wow.
We store a lot of our other spices upstairs, and we were like, that's not going upstairs because this weighs like 2,000 pounds.
It's got to be challenging though, and I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about how you find these small farms, how you source and make the connections so that it's sustainable for them to ship something halfway around the world to here in Cambridge, and then for you to, then ship it all over, and your customers find you.
We started working with a co-op in Sri Lanka in 2015 when I started the business after I had traveled there a couple years prior and gone exploring and basically talked to people. It was remarkable actually setting up my first order from Sri Lanka and remembering these connections I had made on the ground. I mean, I basically just took a flight to Sri Lanka. I had some connections through friends, and it was sort of wild. I got into a taxi and then was on a moped driving over to the cinnamon farm and saying, hey, I'm starting a spice business. I'd like to work with you. Here, I'll take one out so you can.
Oh my gosh. Unbelievable. That's so cool.
Isn't that nice? Yeah, and
Really
this is
nice.
something, when I was in Vietnam, I actually met with a friend of my brother's who's a poet, and she remembers saving up enough money for when she was really little, saving up enough money so she could buy a piece of cinnamon like this, and she would break off little pieces of it and chew on it. So
oh my gosh,
you should try some.
Okay, I don't think I've ever eaten raw cinnamon before. Wow,
isn't it sweet?
It's so
nice.
sweet.
Yeah. So this is a special variety we're getting just from Vietnam. That is really beautiful.
Well, also exciting is you've had this space here in North Cambridge for a while, but you've recently expanded next door, which was a real estate office, but now is your very cool laboratory. Talk with me a little bit about what role that's going to play in your business now.
We've always focused on education as part of our connection to the community and as part of the Curio philosophy. You know, Curio is connected to curiosity. So we've always had classes. We used to have them here in the storefront. Then we did virtual classes during the pandemic. There was such a demand and again, a curiosity for how to cook with spices. How do I bloom spices? How do I navigate the 40 spices that are in my drawer and I know nothing about? So we're really lucky to open the lab at Curio, and there we have a series of in-person classes. I just taught spice blending this weekend where folks get to blend their own spices. They have access to our hundreds of spices to choose from. And that is thrilling, and I love discovering all people's memories and connections to flavor.
All right, Claire, what do you have for us here?
I thought we should taste a couple spices.
Okay, clearly.
Because I can talk about them till the cows come home. So let's see. The first one we have is from Madagascar.
Okay.
This is really unique. It's a wild peppercorn that only grows in the jungle. So it's not even cultivated. It is really neat. It's like a tiny, tiny little peppercorn. So first just have a smell.
There's like little, oh wow.
Yeah, isn't it cool?
Yeah. It smells almost like a berry.
Really fruity. Very, very herbal.
Okay.
So let me just crush a couple of those up because you can eat these whole, and I actually sometimes just throw them on a pizza because they're like so little. But I will just give you a small taste so that you don't
Totally burn my...
Yes.
How spicy is it?
I'll eat one too.
Okay.
They're not that spicy.
Okay.
It's like a little peppery.
Okay.
So you get that familiar
Yeah.
pepper quality, but what else do you taste?
There's like a floralness to it. Really interesting. Oh wow, and it kind of like, yeah, it fills in over time. Well, to that end too, so you've got this new lab space, but you've also got a new facility in Winchester that you just opened recently. Well, tell me more about that and the role it's playing just in terms of the growth of the business.
So we expanded. It's about 5,000 square feet over in Winchester. Spices also take up a lot of space. They're like a big bag of sage, you know, might only weigh 10 pounds, but it takes up the entire backseat of your car. So we needed a lot of space to store spices, to mix the spices, and we are one of the few North American companies that grinds and blends all their own spices. So walking over here, this is Sam, our spice production manager. He does all of our blending.
Nice to meet you, Sam.
So over here, we have a big oven where we toast the spices. That is essential to like adding layers of flavor to our blends.
You're also a B Corp, which is really interesting too, and there's a lot of things that you have to do to get your B Corp status. Talk to me a little bit about that and how long you've been able to have that official B Corp label.
We are now a certified B Corp, which means that they are upholding us to the highest standards of environmental sustainability and social responsibility. And their tagline is using business as a force for good. And that really resonates with me because I wanted to start a business that not just, you know, had spices for sale that tasted nice, but we're making a meaningful impact on the farmers who grew them.
How do you measure your own impact? What are some ways that you can quantify that and that what you've been able to accomplish here?
The growth of the business, being able to source higher volumes of spices from these small farms. Again, going back to the founding of the business and me showing up at a farm in Sri Lanka and I'm like, hey, You want to work with me? It is that feeling of now I've followed through. I have grown the relationship. I am spending more money on their beautiful spices, and that meant a lot because, again, we're a small business, but we can still have a big impact.